Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Here's a headline from the block. Gensler, SEC could tailor disclosures for crypto firms. That's a little bit curious, though, isn't it? I thought that everything that needed to be done to ensure that there was sufficient clarity regarding the crypto space, it was already done. Everything's completely crystal clear, and anybody that says that there's a lack of clarity is not acting in good faith. Isn't that the tripe that we've been fed for years on end? Really grinds my gears, folks. Well, I'm going to share some specifics on that with you today. Also, I got comments from attorney John Deaton, and he shares his thoughts on why there are, frankly, multiple reasons, he cites them, that Ripple will settle with the SEC if given specific parameters. And so, with the huge victory the other day regarding attorney-client privilege, understandably, a lot of people are just more rah-rah and thinking, okay, let's just take this damn thing the whole way, right? Well, maybe that's going to happen anyway. We don't know for sure if there's going to be settlement, but just because things look very good right now doesn't mean that it would be wise for Ripple specifically to take this thing through full adjudication if there's an alternative. But before going any further, to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. So these are the latest comments from attorney John Deaton on this topic of settlement regarding the SEC versus Ripple case from just a little bit earlier today, and he said the following. I see people saying Ripple won't settle now. If Gary Gensler called Mary Jo White and said, pay $100 million, admit you sold a security between 2013 through 2015, and we will declare all ongoing and future sales of XRP as non-securities, Brad Garlinghouse would write that check immediately. So I'll pause to note here, just as a quick reminder in case you don't recall. Mary Jo White is an attorney for Ripple, and she's a former chair of the SEC. So the firm they went with, a lot of former SEC attorneys, and it's really incredible, frankly. Like, they're the go-to firm for all things SEC, and no doubt you have to pay a fortune, obviously, for their services, but, I mean, these are literally people that were at the top levels, the highest levels of the SEC, saying that current SEC top brass is wrong. But indeed, like, imagine this were the scenario, though. You know, pay $100 million fine, and all sales moving forward of XRP, non-securities. That's pretty enticing. Now, that wouldn't provide clarity for the entire space, but if you're Ripple, what makes sense? Well, here's what attorney Deaton had to say about this. Ripple isn't going to not settle so that the overall crypto market gets a favorable ruling. Garlinghouse has a duty to Ripple shareholders, not the crypto market. Plus, there is no guarantee Ripple will do better than that with the judge's ruling. There are way too many variables. And I'll just pause to note, of course, Ripple today is not a publicly traded company, though I strongly suspect they will be at some point in the future. When he's talking about shareholders, understand that there are private shareholders that you can purchase through secondary markets. There's firms like Link2, but you have to be an accredited investor, and then you actually can buy Ripple, the company. Anyway, attorney Deaton continues. First, a settlement that gives XRP not regulatory clarity, but better yet, regulatory certainty moving forward is worth a lot more than $100 million. Second, a settlement ends the litigation, and therefore there are no appeals. If Ripple wins summary judgment, the SEC will likely appeal. So let me just pause to note, and this is one of the things that is concerning me. I've mentioned it before. It's been a while since I talked about this, but even though if there's full adjudication of this case, and you get to summary judgment and Ripple wins, which is what I suspect would happen based on all publicly available knowledge at this point anyway, I don't think that's going to be the end of it. I think the SEC is going to appeal, and who knows? We could have years of pain even after the case settles. That's why, for me, I'm just sitting here like, as much as I want to have regulatory certainty for the entire space, I'm kind of thinking, just let there be certainty surrounding XRP specifically, and if Congress can just work faster to maybe make some changes in terms of the powers that various government agencies have surrounding the crypto space, that would be a better route. That would be a better route. So look, fine. Maybe we get full adjudication. We're all celebrating, But how long is that celebration going to last? Because I just don't believe for a moment the SEC is going to give up. What the hell do they have to lose? They're terrible creatures. Attorney Deaton continues, though. He says, third, if the SEC declared ongoing and future sales of XRP as non-securities, the exchanges will 100% relist XRP. If there is a decision by the judge that today's XRP is not a security, but her ruling is appealed, the exchanges would likely relist XRP, but it is not 100%. And fourth, it is possible the judge does not completely resolve the issues, i.e., she grants only partial summary judgment, and finds that there are factual issues for a jury to decide, and the case or part of the case moves forward with a lengthy jury trial. Now, fifth, because Ripple has been successful and is hiring people while others are firing or filing for bankruptcy, people underestimate how much damage this case has inflicted on adoption and Ripple's business. XRP being declared a non-security in the US is critical. Yeah, so I'll pause and note, business is devastated in the United States specifically. So even though RippleNet and on-demand liquidity specifically is up massively year over year, not in the United States. That's why it's actually so impressive that earlier this year when Garlinghouse announced that on-demand liquidity adoption was up 800% year over year, that's without the U.S. That's with complete decimation of the U.S. There used to be, I can't remember what the numbers were because it's been too long, but there were major flows from the United States connecting to Mexico and the Philippines. Those were obliterated and still up 800%. That's astonishing, frankly. So, this is absolutely harming Ripple, and that's why they've said, too, if this doesn't go well for them, Ripple is going to leave the United States. They will have no presence in the United States whatsoever. Brad said that's a certainty. And before he recently said, I made a whole video about that, but before he said that, I thought, well, they'd probably stick around in the United States to some degree, even if maybe their HQ is no longer in the United States, and you could use on-demand liquidity by plugging in a different cryptocurrency, if they wanted to. Not that there's regulatory certainty around anything else either, but I'm just saying there could be other options if the worst happened for XRP. But it looks like no. It looks like the rest of the world will just get blazing fast conversions from one fiat currency to another with on-demand liquidity, and the United States wouldn't get it. Any corridor touched in the United States wouldn't get it. That's what it looks like now, anyway. And then Attorney Deaton also says, me stating these things does not mean I think a settlement is imminent. It also does not mean I believe Ripple will lose or anything like that. I'm only saying that if Ripple were able to achieve regulatory certainty with a settlement, it would be a no-brainer. Brad Garlinghouse is savvy enough to know that if he could achieve certainty, he wouldn't hesitate to also give Gary Gensler a political and public victory by agreeing to certain terms. Ripple would go public, and you would see Brad and Gary on a stage together in the. He wrote the further. I think he meant the future. So, yeah, certainly I agree with that, and certainly as far as the IPO, that seems like an inevitability here. But it's just, let the SEC have their little victory lap. Because I'll tell you this, whatever the terms are, and I don't know exactly what they be, of course I don't, but it's very clear that Ripple won't agree to any settlement terms unless there's absolute clarity for XRP. Without that, that's a deal breaker. So the moment I see that there's a headline, and it could be, I don't know, or who knows, maybe one day we wake up and we see the headline, settlement, before I even know the specifics or read anything about it, I will breathe a sigh of relief and be excited because I'll know that will be part of it. It's going to be an amazing day when that happens. It's a coming here so far as I'm concerned. Now take a look at this from the block. Gensler, SEC could tailor disclosures for crypto firms. Oh, could they? Could they? I thought everything was all set. What do you mean? You had to tailor something a little bit differently for a crypto asset? I thought that didn't make sense. Everything's all set in place. Isn't that right, Kim Jong-Gensler? Apparently not. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission could tailor disclosures to suit crypto companies, Chair Gary Gensler said Thursday, offering new insight into the commission's future rulemaking. And here's a quote from Gensler. I've said to the industry, to the lending platforms, to the trading platforms, come in, talk to us. We do have robust authorities from Congress also to use our exemptive authority so that we can tailor investor protection. And that's a quote from today at a Yahoo Finance interview. Yeah, I'll tell you what. It's so obvious. Going in and talking to them is like the worst thing you can do. If you're a company in crypto in the United States, talking to the SEC is the worst thing that you can do. It virtually guarantees that you're going to be sued into oblivion. Like, because you're doing all the legwork for them. If you're disclosing what you're doing, they're more likely to go after you because they don't have to put together a case, or at least not as much of it anyway. You're giving them the information that they would have either not had access to, or they would have had to done heavy research on. That's what happened with Ripple. That's what happened with Library. Good actors in the space operating in good faith and sued into oblivion. Isn't that fun? And here's another quote from him. Even tailoring what the disclosures might be, because maybe not all of the disclosures for somebody issuing equity are the same as a crypto token. But I would note we don't have the same disclosures for an asset-backed security that we do for a stock offering. So it's a thoughtful way to sort of tailor things, end quote. What in the ever-loving hell is this guy? Does he forget like every other? Does he forget like every other thing he's ever said about clarity in the space and about how everything's set? Did he just forget about that today? Man, these people, man. But see, when you're a liar and you're not being intellectually honest, this is the type of stuff that happens. You forget the lies that you said, and then you can't keep your damn story straight. That's exactly what you'd expect from an asshat like this Kim Jong-Ginzer. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything that I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.